Welcome to His Word Heals, where we deal with health issues as well as prophecy and those things concerning Abba's people today. This is just going to be a quick news clip regarding Alan Dershowitz's doubling down on what he said last week regarding forced vaccinations and the government being legally allowed under the Constitution to drag you into a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm against your will if you do not want to be vaccinated. If you didn't see that original video, you can watch it here at Crowdsource the Truth on YouTube. It's called Crowdsource the Truth, or Jason Goodman's channel, and it's titled here, Alan Dershowitz Addresses the Systematic Destruction of the U.S. Constitution. And Jason Goodman asks him towards the end of the video about forced vaccinations. Actually, he volunteers it, and Jason Goodman does a good job of cross-examining on him on that. I've also included that clip in our latest video that was just before this one, called Ezekiel 8 through 11 and Revelation. Pay attention, watchmen and women. And I tie the forced vaccination and the quantum dot tattoo vaccine and all of that into Revelation and possibly the mark of the beast and things that are going on under Jerusalem right now, in the caves and caverns under Jerusalem. So that's a pretty interesting video that ties current events to prophecy and scripture, and this stuff is coming to fruition so quickly that we can't even keep up with it. So anyway, check out our latest video at hiswordheals.com. Also, the one before that was contact tracing in the news, the things that you should know about contact tracing before you decide to participate in giving out private information of family and friends should you ever come in contact and be questioned about your contacts. If you come in contact with someone who has been diagnosed supposedly to have COVID-19, you'll want to watch that one as well. But let's get right into the clip that we're going to talk about. Well, we're not going to talk about it. I'm just going to show it to you, and I hope that you talk to your friends and family about it. It's where Del Bigtree is interviewing Alan Dershowitz regarding what he just said in the earlier video I just cited about forcing vaccinations. And here he is going to be doubling down, saying that people should not have religious exemptions at all to vaccinations, and that as a matter of fact, he starts citing the Torah and the Bible and religion as reasons why you should be vaccinated and why you have absolutely no religious right to have any kind of religious exemption against a forced vaccination. So without further ado, here is Rabbi Dershowitz. And if you don't know who he is, Alan Dershowitz, again, is one of Trump's attorneys, and he's also friends with Benjamin Netanyahu. So here we go. Thanks for watching, and please share this with everyone you know. We all need to be awake and wary and paying attention to what's going on so that we are not caught unaware.
My view is very simple. You cannot be compelled to take a vaccine that's designed just to help you. If we develop a vaccine to prevent cancer or a heart attack, you have a choice. You have a right to die, you have a right to live, you have a right to take the vaccine or not. But if the vaccine is not intended to help you only, it's intended to prevent you from spreading the disease, the fatal, highly contagious disease, to other people, then the state has the right to compel you to do it. The Supreme Court held that in 1905 in a case called Jacobson versus Massachusetts, when the smallpox vaccine was at issue. Look, I was in Israel when this first broke out, and I was with Prime Minister Netanyahu. It was right on the eve of the election. And he told my wife and me that they were going to close down the country. My daughter was supposed to meet us in Israel, and she was kept out. She couldn't come in because Netanyahu decided to become very, very aggressive. And it had an enormous impact. Israel has had a much, much smaller percentage of cases than other countries and other surrounding countries. So actions taken by the state can have an impact, and vaccination is one of them.
Is there any group right now that you imagine as you're watching the trials, and we do see, you know, numbers coming in about the death rates, and it does appear that it's going to be lower than smallpox for sure, but I'm not going to really grill into you there. What I'm curious about is there any group right now that you see should be excluded from that type of mandate? Is there anyone that you would say just right up front, look, when I said they can drag you to the hospital and plunge a needle in your arm, I didn't mean for this specific group? Is there anyone in your mind right now that fits that scenario that would be exempt from, just by nature, from the program?
Let me start by saying who should not be exempt. Religious people who have a religious objection should not be exempt for two reasons. First, the religious objection is nonsense. Christians, Jews can have no religious objection. Look at the Bible, the Torah, the Old Testament, the Jewish Bible. It has chapter after chapter about how to deal with people with communicable diseases. It requires that you take lepers and put them outside of the wall. There's all kinds of descriptions about how you know whether a person still continues to be contagious. And the concept of choose life in the Bible, which is often quoted against abortion by Christians, but surely Christian theology, Jewish theology, Muslim theology, all the Mosaic religions, the Abrahamic religions, all support preferring life. So I wouldn't exempt anybody on religious grounds any more than I would exempt people on religious grounds from other obligations under the law. I would exempt people who have a medical problem, which would be exacerbated by taking the vaccine. Well, there's a terrible case. I would never cite it as a precedent, in Justice Holmes' opinion, where he allowed, in a case called Buck versus Bell, for a woman to be sterilized against her will based on mental incompetence. And that was a case that was actually focused on by the Nuremberg principles. But the Nuremberg principles, I've read them carefully, don't apply, were never intended to apply to mandatory vaccination. So, and I do think it's a little bit insulting to the victims of Nazism and the Holocaust to, in any way, and you're not suggesting this, but some have in some of my emails, compare getting a vaccination to being put in a gas chamber or having experimentation done on you against your will, for your children, for no one's good. So the Nuremberg principles, I don't think are applicable, but the Due Process Clause of the Fifth Amendment is applicable, the Equal Protection Clause, the bodily integrity of the Fourth Amendment. All of these are relevant, and I think we will get a test case. Maybe I'll argue it, maybe I won't argue.
Sound your shofar, and please visit us at www.hiswordheals.com and go to our blog or video page for all of our videos. Blessings and shalom to all of you and everyone in your home.